Kunjaviha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjavihari Madhava Kunjavi Gopi Jana Balabha Giripada Dhari Labha Girivada Dhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivada Dhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivada Dhari Jasodhanandana Brajajanadandana Brajajanadana Jasodhanandana Brajajanadandana Dana Brajajanadana Jamuna Tira Chadi
Been locked up.
Vanata Jamunatira Chadi
Computer, please call support immediately. Please do not attempt to shut down or
Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Adi
Please call our support
Madhava
security message. Your computer
Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Adi Radha Madhava Punjabi Adi Gopi Jana Balabha Girivara Dhari 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 Jasodhanandana Brajajanadana Nandana Brajajanadana Jasodhanandana Brajajanadana Nandana Brajajanadana Jamuna Tira Chadi
Please do not attempt to shut down.
Jamuna Tira Chadi
aim to stop illegal activity. Please call our support immediately.
Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Adi
without your knowledge or consent to visit
Madhava Punjabi Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Adi
identity theft.
Madhava Punjabi Adi Jayom Vishnupada.
Your computer has been locked up. Your IP address was used without your
Find
knowledge
Grace
or
AC
consent to visit
Bhaktivedanta.
websites that contains identity
Srila
theft virus.
Prabhupada
To unlock the computer,
Grantaraj
please
Srimad
call support
Bhagavad
immediately. Please do
Gora
not attempt to shut down or restart your computer. Doing that may lead to data loss and identity theft. The computer lock is aimed to...
Do you have extra masks in the house? No, I'm asking our host. Is there anybody in the neighborhood that will have extra masks in their house? Huh? In the car. Bring as many as we need. As you know, there's cases is on the rise. And so we want to do two things. One is when we get to questions and answers, someone needs to sanitize the extra microphone. Those that are from the same family can sit together, otherwise please social distance yourself and wear masks, except when you're speaking. Otherwise, just we're taking extra precaution. Prudent. Put on your seatbelt and wear a mask. We don't expect an accident coming from his house to seatbelt on. This is Damodar month, and since November 1st, 21st, from the very beginning of this month, verses and commentaries from Damodara Lila. So I'm going to do a little background before we get rolling this evening. The Damodara Lila is found in chapter 9 of Canto 10. And the narration of the Damodara Lila in chapter 9 of Canto 10 is responsive to a question and a topic from chapter 8. In chapter 8, it's the title of the chapter. The topic is the childhood pastime of Krishna. So it starts from Krishna's crawling. Now, I'm not going to go into it too much. We'll discuss it a little bit tomorrow, because tomorrow is Gopastami. 8 o'clock morning class, we'll be discussing Gopastami. We'll hear some of the details of the child development of Krishna from the time that he was beginning to crawl. He was, according to Jiva Goswami, he was 1.5 times the normal developmental stage of any child. So when he was 2, he was behaving like 3. When he was 3, he was behaving like 6. No, 5. So from the time he was crawling and the details, the activities that because he and Balaram were separated by age only by some number of days, and otherwise their developmental stages were identical. And all through the childhood to the time where he then began walking without crawling. And when he began walking without crawling, all kinds of things would happen as he was walking through the village. For example, the focus goes to Vatsalya Rasa. And we hear from chapter 14, Brahma's prayers to Krishna, that although you appear in this world as if you're an ordinary person, your activities that appear to be ordinary are simply to nourish and stimulate the ecstatic love of your devotees. So the childhood pastimes for stimulating the ecstatic love of the elders, the Vatsalya Rasa personality, not just Nanda and Jasoda, but so he, for example, go walking through the village, little boy walking, and the elder men would see him walking, and they would feel more affection for Krishna than they felt for their own son. And here comes a mask. You used to wearing a mask? You okay with wearing one? You don't mind? It's okay? Both of you. Now don't look at her. I'm looking at you. Is it okay? I don't want you to feel weird or something, but it's okay. Okay. For example, when he was still crawling, something that I like very much. It's Krishna is perfect, but he makes mistakes. not our kind of mistake, but it's the mistake of stimulating the love of his devotees. So Krishna and Balaram would hear the tinkling of the ankle bells of some of the elder gopis, and they would go crawling after them, thinking they were their mothers. But when they realized it wasn't their mothers, they became startled, running back and sat on the laps of their mothers. Imperfect senses. But it's not imperfect senses. It's stimulation of ecstatic love. That's what we should understand. So that's his childhood pastimes. Then the stealing of butter, the Makhan pastime. And um, all the exchanges with the elder gopis. This is chapter 8 kind of overview. And they come to Mother Yasoda's home, and it sounds like they're complaining, but they're just expressing their love for Krishna. Oh, he does this, and does that, and does the other thing. He's just so naughty, and you got to do something with this boy. He's so naughty. They have their exchange. She says, just give him butter. Have so much butter in your household. We try. But he won't take it. He wants to steal. And he finds very clever ways to steal. They go on and on about clever ways of stealing. So, as a pastime for the pleasure of the elder gopis, the gopas become involved when Krishna is stealing and they catch him. He just smiles and their hearts melt. They forget to scold. So, it's stimulation of ecstatic love all the way. Then, one of the things that Krishna wanted, because he's complete, is all the emotions of parental affection he wanted to experience, and one of them was to be admonished. Because loving parents, when they admonish their children, is love, and Krishna knows that. So he wanted to experience that, but she didn't. She just embraced him. Oh, why do you do these things? So then he notched it up. He ate dirt, and he wanted her to admonish him. So she kind of, let me see what's inside your mouth. So then there was another Leela. And describing that Leela and what she went through, Shukadeva Goswami stops narrating that pastime and just bursts out in a spontaneous glorification of Mother Yasoda's love. And when he finishes doing that, Maharaj Pariksit becomes likewise. I mean, he's a pure devotee. He's hearing about the pure love of Mother Yasoda. He goes, wow, what pious activities did she and Nanda undergo to have such love for Krishna? And at the end of chapter 8 is this whole narration of Drona and Dara, which I'm not going to go into. You can read it if you want, where the indication is Yashoda and Nanda are manifestations of demigod. Dara, wife, and Drona, husband, undergoing austerities in the realm. Brahma gives them benediction. You can become Krishna's parents, they become Krishna's parents. The detail is, I don't want to go into it too much because of time, but from the Krishna Loka, partial expansions of Nanda and Yasoda manifest themselves in heaven. They become known as Drona. They undergo austerities, they get, and they merge into the body of Nanda and Yasoda. And when Krishna's pastimes are over, when Krishna's worldly pastimes are over, he goes back to Vrindavan for 2 months to make arrangements, among things, for them to, Drona and Dara, to go back to the heavenly planets, the eternal associates to go to Krishna Loka. and the manifest pastimes entering state. That's a lot, but um, that's how chapter 8 ends. And it's not really satisfying. And so chapter 9 begins explaining Mother Jasoda and Nanda Maharaj eternally, they don't become Nanda and Jasoda. They're eternally Nanda and Jasoda. And their love is super excellent. So the Damodara Lila is narrated to indicate the very, 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 very special love of Nanda Jasoda. And the Acharyas expand it to not just them, but all the residents of Vrindavan. All the residents of Vrindavan have very, very, very special love. And there's details and details and details. So where we are, I saw all the way to text 21 of chapter 9. So the Damodara Lila is narrated in the first 19 verses, and verse 20 and 21 are summarizing what Shukadev Goswami wants us to receive from that, kind of like the purport, the essence, core message. And text 20 compares the love of Mother Jasoda, or the mercy received by Mother Jasoda, Brahma Shiva and the goddess of fortune. And he says she gets more mercy than any one of them. And there's lots of commentary explaining how to understand that. The mercy is the loving pastimes. Mercy is that she's able to bind him. They're not able to bind him. They don't even think about it. But she not only thinks about it, she strives, she overcomes the obstacle to binding him and binds him. She binds him with her love. And it's a loving pastime. That's what he wanted. That's what Sanatana Goswami says in the very first verse of this chapter. Krishna wanted that. And she did it. And he made difficulty for her to do it. And she overcame the difficulty for her to do it. And it's what he wanted. Because Mother Jasoda can't do anything other than what Krishna wants. Although it looks contrary. And what he does look contrary to what she wants. But it's a loving exchange. And non-devotees can't understand. It sounds like gobbledygook. And devotees are appreciating what Sukadeva Goswami wants us to appreciate. The very, very, very special mercy that she has received. And now we're going to this evening's verse 21. These two, 20, 21, summarize the Damodara Lila. It is almost the end of the chapter. Almost. So text 21 reads, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the son of Mother Yashoda, is accessible to devotees engaged in spontaneous loving service, but he is not as easily accessible to mental speculators. Three categories. Mental speculators, those who are striving for self-realization by severe austerities and penances, or those who consider the body the same as the self. This is Lord Chaitanya's teachings, that the teachings, the gift of Lord Chaitanya is Braja Prem. And Braja Prem is different than Vaikuntha Prem. We find, for example, Prahlad Maharaj. He's a Brijvasi. He's a Vaikunthavasi. Dhruva Maharaj is Vaikunthavasi. They're pure devotees. There's no question of anything other than their devotion is perfectly pure. But they cannot. The goddess of fortune cannot. She's not just a pure devotee, she's direct expansion of the Lord's own Shakti. But she can't experience that love of the residents of Braja because she thinks of herself as the goddess of fortune, etc., etc. So there's a very special dimension or component or feature of the love of the residents of Vrindavan. Lord Chaitanya's teaching is to enter into that same love of the residents of Vrindavan, starting with, of course, the chanting of the holy name, and also hearing about the qualities and activities of the perfected devotees in Vrindavan, the Ragatmika Bhaktas. This is Rupa Goswami's teaching, which is Lord Chaitanya's teaching, which is right here in this verse. Right here in this verse. The kind of love that she has. Text 20 says, what special mercy. This verse says, how do you get it? How do you make yourself eligible to get it, to get that kind of mercy? Not just, you can't be Mother Yasoda, but you can get that special love that she and the other residents of Vrindavan have. Spontaneous loving service. And the path of spontaneous loving service is following in the footsteps of these very, very, very special eternal associates of Krishna in Vrindavan. That's Lord Chaitanya's teaching. That's Rupa Goswami's. That's the process that we're involved in. So it's really nice to unpack it. And that's what the commentary does. So we're going to go, we've already gone through Prabhupada's translation, purport, Sanatana Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, etc., commentaries. Now it's where this verse, text 21, is referred to in other places. So we're going to read 3 sections. One I think you'll find very interesting. We'll start with Chaitanya Bhagavat. Chaitanya Bhagavat. And Antya Lila of Chaitanya Bhagavat. Keshava Bharati. Who's Keshava Bharati in Gaura Lila? Keshava Bharati is the sannyas guru, right? So he was a Mayavadi sannyas guru. But he then became a devotee through the association of Lord Chaitanya and his associates. So he says in Antya Khanda, the final section of Chaitanya Bhagavat, after considering the topic, I have concluded that the glories of bhakti are superior to all. Now, this is Bhakti Siddhanta's commentary. He writes, in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi 8.17, the following verse from the Tantras is found, quote, by cultivating philosophical knowledge, it follows the same line as this verse, text 21 of Canto 9. Chapter 9, Damodara Lila. By cultivating philosophical knowledge, one can understand his spiritual position and thus be liberated. And by performing sacrifices and pious activities, one can achieve sense gratification in a higher planetary system. But the devotional service of the Lord is so rare that even by executing hundreds and thousands of such sacrifices, one cannot obtain it. In Bhagavatam 126, it is said, Savaipung Samparo Dharmo Yato Bhaktir Hokshaje. The supreme occupation, or dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Also, 1.2.22, it is stated, certainly, therefore, since time immemorial, all transcendentalists have been rendering devotional service to Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, with great delight, because such devotional service is enlivening to the self. And then he quotes our evening verse, 10 9:21. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the son of Mother Yashoda, is accessible to devotees engaged in spontaneous loving service, but he is not easily accessible to mental speculators, to those striving for self-realization by severe austerities and penances, or to those who consider the body the same as the self. That's the end of his commentary on that verse. I'm just going to repeat for our, clear understanding, for those who came in just a little bit late. This verse 21 is one of two. 2021 are summary verses for the whole Damodara Lila, spoken by Shukadev, who just narrated, and now he's expressing to Maharaj Parikshit and to us, what are we supposed to receive from all this? Mother Jasoda has special mercy. Now we often hear, and it's true, that she binds him not with rope, but with her love. Because you can't bind him with rope. You can't catch him from behind, but she catches him from behind, etc., etc. The great yogis, they can't catch him, but she catches him. She catches him because he lets her catch him. And he lets her catch him because of her love. And he wants to run. He wants her to chase him. He wants her to catch him. She just does what he wants. And he does what she wants. Like in chapter 8, because we mentioned earlier. The elder gopis would sometimes, they would clap and ask Krishna to dance, and he would dance. They would ask him to sing. Krishna would sing. They'd ask him to go pick up something on the other side of the room, and he'd go pick up that something and bring it to them. Sometimes they'd ask him to pick up things that were very heavy, and he would go and just touch the object and smile. And what were they feeling? They were feeling what parents or adults feel with little children that do little cute things. But they're pure devotees and he's Krishna. So he's stimulating their ecstatic love for him. He's not going to do that he doesn't do that with anyone. Doesn't do that with anyone. But the Brijbasis, he does. So these pastimes there is no equal to outside of Vrindavan to the quality and quantity of mercy that she receives. And that's in text 21, is how to get that kind of mercy. It's by spontaneous devotional service. And that means following the vidhis on the outside and cultivating attachment and great appreciation on the inside. That's Raganuga Bhakti. That's what's being spoken about. It's not expanded as it is in nectar devotion, but that's what's being spoken about. Bhakti, yes. And this very special bhakti, triple yes. And so it's a very special pastime that we hear about it for a whole month. We sing the song for a whole month. We offer lamps for the whole month. We meditate on the pastime for the whole month. Here's another reference. What happened? Yeah. From Chaitanya Bhagavat Madhya Kanda. So we read Antya, now this is going backwards, Madhya Kanda, where Vrindavan Das Thakur has gone through a whole explanation of the glories of chanting, and the glory of chanting is that awakens bhakti, that desire to serve Krishna, and so he concludes, I have established the fact that no activity is fruitful without devotional service. See it the other way. The real culmination of anything that one does, the austerities and meditation and charity and sacrifices and things, is to come to the stage of devotional service. The latter takes you to that position. Or the reverse is, if you don't come to that position, anything you do isn't fruitful in the transcendental sense of fruitful. It may be fruitful in terms of piety and the fruits of piety, but the mission of life is not being fulfilled just by those nice things. So now you'll hear like 14, 15 different scriptural references that are saying that same point. This is Bhaktisiddhanta's commentary on that quote, paraphrasing what Vrindavan Das Thakur has written. Without the service of the Lord, a conditioned soul cannot achieve any benefit through the performance of conditional or constitutional duties. I have personally established this fact. In other words, this principle is described in Vedic literatures. So here we go, a list of, they're not saying identical, but some very similar things. Included in this list is our verse for this evening, 10.9.21. In the Kaivalya Upanishad, it states, faithful sadhakas attain Lord Krishna by meditating on his form with devotion. The Vedanta Sutra states, 3.2.24, according to the Shrutis and Smritis, the Lord becomes visible for those who worship him with love. Atharva Veda, Gopaltapani Upanishad says, Sri Govinda, who is Satchitananda, always exists in the mellows of devotional service. In other words, he is attained only through devotional service. In the Mundaka Upanishad, it is stated, if a pure-hearted, self-realized sadhaka meditates through the knowledge of the scriptures on the Supreme Lord, then he can directly see him. Another reference, Vedanta Sutra. This is also described. Devotional service is so potent that simply by engaging in the activities of devotional service, one becomes enlightened without a doubt. Brahma's prayers, 2 references, chapter 14, canto 10. My dear Lord, devotional service unto you is the best path for self-realization. If someone gives up that path and engages in the cultivation of speculative knowledge, he would simply undergo troublesome process and will not achieve his desired result, as a person who beats an empty husk of wheat cannot get grain. One who simply speculates cannot achieve self-realization. He only gains trouble. And later in the same chapter, Brahma says, my dear Uddhava, the unalloyed devotional service rendered to me by my devotees brings me under their control. I cannot be thus controlled by those who engage in mystic yoga, Sankhya philosophy, pious work, Vedic study, austerities, or renunciation. Excuse me, that's not Brahma, that's Krishna in Uddhava Gita. Pardon me. Krishna is speaking to Uddhava. Canto 11, chapter 14. That's right, I got it. My dear Uddhava, the unalloyed devotional service rendered to me by my devotees brings me under their control, and I cannot be controlled these other ways. And there's more. In Matara Shruti, it is stated, Bhakti leads the jiva to the Lord and establishes the soul, enables the soul to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is controlled by Bhakti. Bhakti is the best of all. It's a long list, it keeps going. Bhagavad Gita 8:22. Purusha saparparta bhaktya labhyascha tvananyaya. O son of Pritha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by Ananya Bhakti, undivided unalloyed devotion. Bhagavad Gita 11:53-54. It is stated, the form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am, my dear Arjuna. Only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. There's a few more. So now comes our verse for this evening, 10:9:21. You ready? I've heard it like 80 times now from several days of covering this verse in commentary. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the son of Mother Yashoda, is accessible to devotees engaged in spontaneous loving service, but he is not as easily accessible to mental speculators, to those striving for self-realization by severe austerities and penances, or to those who consider the body the same as the self. Here's an interesting one. In Madhvacharya's commentary to Vedanta Sutra, another sutra, but this is his commentary, he quotes a verse. Lord Vishnu dwells in devotional service. The Supreme Lord Vishnu is controlled only by devotional service. Only through devotional service does he give his darshan to the devotees. And only by devotional service does he award liberation to the living entities. Intense affection for Lord Vishnu is called devotional service. This devotional service is the supreme method for achieving darshan of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. And if you weren't convinced, here's some more references. Madhya Lila, chapter 20, text 136. Krishna can be fully satisfied only by devotional service, and he is worshipped only by devotional service. Okay, the conclusion is devotional service is the only means for approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Two more. In Padma Purana, Uttarakhanda, chapter 50, it is stated, Lord Vishnu does not give his darshan to those who have vast wealth. He does not give his darshan to those who are born in aristocratic families. He does not give his darshan to those who have vast knowledge, but he gives his darshan in a moment to those who are engaged in devotional service. Just as a person is able to bind water with cloth, if after attaining the human form of life, the living entity does not engage in devotional service, he is unable to attain liberation, and his labors go in vain. As a foolish person tries to cross the ocean by swimming, only a foolish person tries to cross the ocean of material existence without engaging in devotional service to Vishnu. There's only one more for this section. This is, again, Uddhava Gita, Canto 11, Chapter 14. It is stated, neither religious activities endowed with honesty and mercy, nor knowledge obtained with great penance can completely purify one's consciousness if they are bereft of loving service to me. Okay, so now there's one more example or place in which 10:9:21 is referred to, and you might be surprised. I was surprised. It's in Baladev Vidyabhusan's commentary to Vedanta Sutra. It's in this same section. So here's how Vedanta Sutra has 4 parts. And it's 2, 1, and 1. The 2 are Sambandham. And the third is Abhideya, and the fourth is Prayojana. We find that understanding when Lord Chaitanya discusses with Prakashananda Saraswati. But the same division that we hear over and over again, it's not pulled out of a hat, it's how the Vedas are structured. And the summary in Vedanta Sutra is structured the same way. So this is section 3, which is Abhideya, and there's this whole section about devotional service. That's where these references are coming from. And here's Baladev's, here's the verse, the sutra, and then his commentary. Upapanas tal lakshanartho palabdher lokavat. Translation. Here's how it has been translated. Ruchi bhakti. We're not used to hearing that one. Prema bhakti. But yeah, bhava bhakti, ruchi bhakti. It's the same direction. It's not just formality bhakti. It's where there's some taste. Ruchi bhakti is best because by this one attains the Lord who is most attracted to such devotees, just as a king is most attracted to the citizen who serves with most attention. So this gives us some idea about the Raganuga Bhakti topic that's in this verse 21. It's regulative plus. Here the emphasis is going attention, but the attention of the resident of Vrindavan is unflinching. It's not to say Dhruva was flinching or Prahlad Maharaj or any Vaikunthavasi personality. Let's say even Narada. Narada is also a Vaikunthavasi. Ambarish Maharaj is a Vaikunthavasi. But the love of the resident of Vrindavan is super attention. So we're chanting japa every day, and most of us, most likely, struggle with attentiveness. So we keep practicing to be attentive and bring the mind back and all that. And we continue to struggle. Most of us probably continue to struggle, unless you just like say, I'm going to stop struggling, I'm just going to accept mechanical chanting, you stop struggling. But if you strive for attentive chanting, it's a struggle. And one of the things that helps you get beyond the struggle, of course, is purity from the effect of chanting, even the chanting that's distracted. Namabhas is very powerful. Distracted chanting is powerful. What to speak of attracted chanting or attentive chanting. So something that helps one is developing this attraction for the perfected souls. I mean, it's kind of like, in even a worldly sense, having a hero, a role model. Like last time we visited your home, in the basketball arena, he had a role model. So you look up to a role model. So maybe there's somebody, the kids in school, because you're not going to school, not going to classes, but somebody is, Sana was a new devotee. Prahlad Maharaj was a hero. I just heard Prabhupada's lectures. I didn't know much about anything because we were all really new about everything. But when I heard about Prahlad Maharaj, it was like, wow. And it was amazing. I found it amazing. This is 1970. And summer 1970. Prabhupada, something moved, and in addition to Back to Godhead magazine, all of a sudden we had a little booklet. It was like half the page size of Back to Godhead magazine page size, and it was the teaching of Prahlad Maharaj. And I was like, wow, Krishna heard my voice. And so we were distributing, and I was really enthusiastic to distribute that. I was really enthusiastic to read it and share it with people because he was a hero. And what is the whole of the Bhagavatam, the whole of Lord Chaitanya's teaching is to take us to Braja Prem. the chanting of the holy name to that level. That's his gift. And with that Braja Prem, saying one more time, as I said earlier, becoming familiar with the personalities of Braja is necessary to get Braja Prem. More than familiarity, they become heroes. We become followers of those anugas, of those personalities. Not just whimsical or something, emotional or that eeny, meeny, miny, mo, like this one, I like that one. Not like that. But, in a mature stage, it's a very deep attraction. We may not be there yet, but I've been using this phrase. When you get on the train, it's good to know where the train's going. And it's good to know what stops are along the way when you're getting closer to, where the train's going. And you're looking forward to getting to the destination. That, according to Rupa Goswami, that's the definition of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. It's not only follow the vidhis, but you know where the train's going. You have faith. It's going to take you there. It's going to take you to that spontaneous stage. That's what this verse is speaking about. You can get that mercy that Yashoda had, and not just only Yashoda, all the residents of Braja have, by this method. So it's right there in Vedanta Sutra, and Srimad Bhagavatam is the commentary on Vedanta Sutra. This Damodara Lila is a commentary on this verse. Let's read the Baladev's commentary. It's nice. It is better, upapanaha, it is better to worship the Lord on the path of ruchi, for there is reason for its superiority. What is that reason? Because one attains upalabdhe, the Lord with sweet qualities, arthaha, who has the quality of being devoted to his devotee, who is attracted to his sweetness. Tad lakshana, bringing the Lord under his control. I mean, there's a little paragraph, but it says a lot. That's the Damodara Lila. Mother Yasoda has brought Krishna under control by her love. She's attracted by his sweetness, and he's attracted by the love that she has for his sweetness. She controls him. An example is given. In this world, some person who acts solely for the benefit of the king, the king appreciates those who are loyal. This brings the king under his control. And the servant who serves that way is praised. The devotee with ruchi bhakti is like that. There is no fault that the Lord becomes dependent, since it is a good quality of the independent Lord to be controlled by the affection of a follower. The meaning is this: the Supreme Lord, relishing affection, revealing his sweetness to his ruchi devotees, accepts them when they offer themselves to him out of attachment. He, being purchased, makes them more prominent than himself out of affection for them, so that they may experience him fully. Otherwise, they cannot experience him fully. Sri Shuka says, 10.9.21, the Lord, son of Yashoda, is not easily attainable to materialists or to gyanis who with realization of Atma, but is easily available to persons with devotion to the son of Yashoda. Though he is controlled, final sentence here, though he is controlled by all devotees, as a rule, he is most controlled by the ruchi devotees. Thus, it is proved that they are the best, and following the path of ruchi is best. That's his commentary on Vedanta Sutra 3.3.31. I kind of get speechless at sometimes thinking, how fortunate are we yeah, we know from it's true because it's in Bhagavad Gita and it's true. Manushanam sahasreshu kaschat yatati siddhaye yatatamapi siddhanam kaschat veti mam tatvatah. It's true. How many people in this world are there compared to how many persons who are searching for perfection? And of those who achieve this perfection, meaning Brahmabhuta, just understanding who you are. One of the little video clips from that biography of Srila Prabhupada, this recent one that Yadavar and Vishaka did, an interview with a television personality. Swamiji, you come to this country, you must have a message. What's your message? I've simply come to teach people to know who you are. And the man was like, what? Oh, to teach people who they are. And Prabhupada just said again, yes, to teach people who they are. Yeah, Brahmabhuta. So that's it's Brahmagyan. I met somebody recently that has their guru, and they were told by their guru it's important to become situated in Brahmagyan. So they wanted to know from me, what is Brahmagyan? What's my understanding of Brahmagyan? Because their guru or teacher hasn't really gone through what Prabhupada has taken us through. To very scrutinizingly take a look at what Scripture says about everything, anything and everything. But so that's preliminary. But the preliminary doesn't take you to, it's not where the train is going. But it's without, so with that Brahmagyan, then comes another really nice section we were discussing on this same verse, Shanta Rati, or Samaha, Sama, means becoming attached. So the teaching from Bhagavatam is you cannot become attached. We're speaking about this stage of the resident of Vrindavan. You cannot become attached to this stage of loving service that the residents of Vrindavan have without, it's an exclusive dedication to Krishna. Their dedication is so exclusive and intense, no matter what happens. They can't think anything other than Krishna's our son, Krishna's our friend, Krishna's our lover. And it's not kind of like that or directionally like that. It's very intense. To come to this kind of love that Lord Chaitanya wants to give, the Bhagavatam wants to give, our disciplic session wants to give. Baladev is saying it, and the Goswami commentaries are saying it. So, like, what are we supposed to receive? This emphasis on very strong, not just distracted chanting, but absorbed in shelter taking in the personality of Godhead, and saying when we're hearing these descriptions, it's not entertainment. It is entertaining. It's very charming. And, kids can see it as like entertaining. Or hear it, and hear it again and again. But the beyond that is, it's enlightening, or more than educational. It's very, very deep and profound. It reveals the goal of life. And as that attraction, the understanding for what the real goal of life is rare. Nat te vidu swartikatemi Vishnu. How many times did Prabhupada say that? It's Prahlad Maharaj saying to his father, and it's Prabhupada saying it to his audiences. They don't know. And even if they know, how likely is it they'll strive for achieving it? And of those who are striving for achieving even Brahmagyan or Brahmabhuta Prasanatma Nasochati Nakangsati. Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. Bhakti begins from there. And then keep going. Because the train keeps going. I'm glad we do this for a whole month. There's a lot in it. There's a lot of the stimulation for that stage of ecstatic love within the pastime, and hearing it, remembering it, trying to dive more deeply into it. It can stay surface, and it's still nice, but it can go deep, and it's more than nice, like chanting. There's a nice quote that I came across related to this topic, and then I'll stop, see if there's some discussion. You can get the microphone, and do we have a portable microphone? No, we don't. Okay. So when you speak, you're going to have to project your voice because we have people online. Huh? Okay. Okay, fine. There's a nice ink. I like Bhaktisiddhanta's writing because he uses words that I don't know what they mean. And then you have to look them up in a dictionary. And then you learn a new word, not just like, more information, but his words are really precise. Just like Sanskrit is a very precise language, so his use of the English language is also very precise. So the word is efface. E-F-F-A-C-E, efface. Efface, I had to look it up. Efface is like when you have a bunch of coins, and the coins rub together and rub together and rub together, after some time, you can't see the date on the coin anymore because it became effaced, the rubbing and rubbing and rubbing. So Bhaktisiddhanta says the chanting of the holy name is like that. The living entity is covered, so many contaminations, and gradually the contaminations are effaced by chanting. So I take it that means, he doesn't say specifically, but Namabhas chanting can bring us, if we're serious, small if we're serious or intent on receiving that which the holy name is meant to provide for us, Krishna's association, we can come to that stage of bhakti that's being indicated here. The spontaneous stage of chanting, the spontaneous stage of the residents of Vrindavan, Braja Prem. That's the gift. So even the distracted chanting we are to continue and strive to become not distracted, strive to become absorbed. Taking shelter, specifically this message in this section, commentary is saying, taking shelter, becoming attached. Maya sakta mana partha, asakti. Maya sakta mana. So we're not attached in the mind or any other way to Krishna and Krishna's name, but that's a target. Become attached to the name, the form and name and qualities of Krishna. This Lila is helping us get there. Even if it's just the effacing kind. But to go more deeply, it's very lovely, very powerful, very purifying. So let's see if there's some discussion. And we don't have a portable microphone. Can we get one for later? Tomorrow or something? Okay. Comments, questions? Way in the back, our host. Take the mask off for your question part, yeah?
One point you said at the very beginning struck me. You said that Krishna and Balaram are only a few days apart.
Yes. How does that work? You want to know? I had to research it, but our commentators explain. I can send you give me an email address and I'll send you the document. Here's a summary of what the document research says. In short, Balaram remained in the womb of Rohini for 12 months. And he was born just a few days before Krishna was born. That's the short of it. So, there's details. But Devaki was pregnant with the seventh child by some number of months. I forget the number of months. 5 months, 6 months, something like that. At that time, that's when you can do the calculation, the math works. That's when Balaram was transferred to the womb of Rohini. And Rohini continued to carry the child Balaram in her womb for some time. Long enough for another pregnancy for Devaki, and the child was born. Okay? Jiva Goswami explains it must be like that because their developmental stages coincided. And he gives examples of their developmental stages, so it had to be that. It's not like deductive logic, it's just evidence that verifies that understanding. Go ahead.
This pastime of Radha Damodara Lila is mainly between Yashoda Maya and Krishna.
Yes.
But when we are glorifying, mostly coming out as Radha Damodar. So how is Radha Rani coming in picture again?
Give me your email address, I'll send you another document. There's a description of Bhavishya Purana, I think it's Bhavishya Purana, one of the Puranas. My memory is not so great. One of the Puranas, Rupa Goswami identifies that from that particular Purana, the following Lila is described. In Krishna Loka, in the spiritual world, during the Kartik month, now that's a little puzzling to me because how do you have a Kartik month in Krishna Loka? Because Kartik is indicating when the moon passes through a certain nakshatra. But anyway, aside from I don't understand that one, that Kartik month is observed in Krishna Loka. Rupa Goswami is verifying. And during the Kartik month, Krishna was to meet Radha at her home. Specifically in the verse, the Purana, it says, Radha Griha. So in her home. And he was late. Krishna was late. He was late because in his home, Purnamasi was arranging a Kartik festival. So he was late. And when he came, Radharani was in one of her angry moods. and she took a sash or a rope or something from around her waist and put it around Krishna's waist and frowned at him. And Krishna smiled and said, "What a wonderful pastime you've just performed. This name of mine, Damodara, now has very special meaning to me." I'm paraphrasing, it's not verbatim what the Sanskrit says. And now anyone who chants this name, Damodar, will achieve my abode, and gives his benedictions. And then there's a comment that adds a couple more verses that says, "When I perform my earthly pastime, similarly Mother Jasoda will bind me with a rope for tying cows." With a rope for tying cows. Because what was bound by Radha. Now, I was told, just add a little cherry and whipped cream to the top of this. I was told that in Vrindavan, during the Kartik month, they have Radha have a belt that goes around Krishna's waist. So I asked a devotee that has a good camera to go to take a picture in Vrindavan. And the pujari said, "We don't do that here." So then I had somebody go to Jaipur. I mean, somebody that has some relatives in Jaipur. That's what I mean to say. And they sent me back 95 pictures, but they don't do that in Jaipur. So if you hear that they do that in Vrindavan or Jaipur, at least the research that I did, they don't. But it's a pastime that Rupa Goswami confirms. And I'll send you the little document. Then you'll have to send it to everybody else because they'll want to look at it too. But you know all these people because they're your house guests. Okay?
Krishna, it was wonderful to see, attend a class live in front of Brenda for 8 months or so.
Yeah, as long as everybody's got their masks on.
Yeah. When you were talking about that verse, 10:9:21, devotional service is nothing material, nothing. There is another one.
There's three. By process of gyan, by austerities and penances, or by identifying the body as the self.
I was connecting them. I was thinking that the definition of devotion given by Rupa Goswami is also the same thing, right? Anabhilach Krishna Mari and all becomes so Adi also included there. So
Yes.
I think all these three are covered in
Yes, correct. Rupa Goswami didn't go on a creative writing spree. He just took what was from the Bhagavatam and Lord Chaitanya's teachings and put it in a nutshell. Yes, it's there. Paramarupa, you have something?
The term that is used in this verse is the Mata, and it is elaborated on as spontaneous devotional service throughout your presentation. Then today you're clarifying also the Ruchi Bhakti.
I'm just taking their terms. I doesn't have my thumbprints on it. It's just their terms. I can guess, and that's the best I can do. But different acharyas have different preferences. Like, Prabhupada commonly would use the term prema bhakti as the goal. Jiva Goswami liked priti. And priti and prema, they're close. They're not identical, but they're it's a pretty much a fit. So he uses the word priti a lot. He doesn't stay away from prema, but he uses priti. There's a certain element of prema. That's my understanding. The exact intention of his using that word, I can't say, but that's my sense. It's the feeling aspect, the loving feeling aspect of the culmination. So, Ruchi we know from, Rupa Goswami's teaching, ruchi is a stage, and it refers to something specific. It's having a taste. It's a taste that's beyond, nishtha. And then, the ruchi asakti bhava prema comes quickly, boom, 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 boom. So it's having a taste. It's making a distinction between, this is my understanding of his use of that term. If Baladev Vidyabhusan was sitting in the room, he might say, I'm sorry, that's not what I meant by that word. But my understanding is, it's beyond simply regulative and striving for purification. There's a taste. Like what it's the sweetness. The sweetness has a taste. And those that have that taste or sweetness of love that's like the residents of Vrindavan, that's the best. It's not just regulative. It's not just mode of goodness. It's moving into the spontaneous stage. That's my understanding of that liking of that word, at least in this little section. And he's got an audience too. You know who his audience was? People that had a regulative view. So he didn't ramp it all the way up to prema and priti. It just was ruchi. But that's, it's guesswork. And if I were more of a scholar and became more familiar with Baladev's choice of words and how he used language and how he addressed the audiences that he was addressing, I might say something different, or somebody that has that capacity might say something different. Can you take the mask off so you can speak? What's the difference between ruchi and prema? Priti and prema. I have my idea of what the difference. And you might ask somebody else and get a different idea of what the difference is. But this is my idea of what the difference is. Prema, keeping it simple, is love of God. Prema bhakti, love of God. And priti is the feeling aspect of that love of God, the emotional aspect of that love of God. Because love of God is, or love, let's say, Mother Jasoda, she has vatsalya prema. She has love as a parent. And then there's certain feelings that she has connected to that love as a parent, and that's the priti element. That's my understanding of the distinction. You have something online? Let's go online.
So, the question is, as a sadhaka, I'm not pure to achieve Raja Prema. How can I associate with these elevated devotees of Vrindavan while distributing books or serving other devotees?
Well, you read the books and you bring that opportunity to read the books to other people. That's something you can do at the preliminary stages. With faith, let's say, I have faith in our acharyas, Prabhupada's rendering. I have faith in the book itself, in Prabhupada's rendering of the book. And so I can serve those personalities by reading about them, although I'm way down here and they're way up there still. I'm serving them by hearing about them with faith, and then giving others the opportunity to hear the same thing. That's something this person can do at this stage. And keep good association with devotees that have a more mature understanding than you do. And that's also a service. You'd see what you can do for them and learn from them through that medium of service and hearing. Okay?
if I'm viewing a seminar on anatomy of Anartha, do you suggest I go over some material also for Tattva Sandarbha seminar? What is the reference, if you can share?
It's from Bhakti Sandarbha, and somebody else just asked me this question, and I forwarded the document to them. The section of Bhakti Sandarbha, I forget the numbers, but I put it into a little document. So I'll send that to you. I'm going to send, you have to identify which three, and I'll send to you, and then you can distribute to people. Make sure that whoever this person is asking gets a copy. Okay? You have something? No. Are we done?
I was just typing the one.
Okay? Pramarupa, we're done? It disappeared. That's it. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.